asylum.
Okay. Well, with us now, we've got the chief White House correspondent for Politico, Mike Allen. He is here with the morning playbook. Mike, good morning.
Well, good morning and happy College Football Friday.
Happy College Football Fridays, right. Hey, so top story today for you guys. President Obama is getting help from some high-profile friends for his latest push for Obamacare. I can't believe it, but this Obamacare back and forth continues, and it's going to keep going straight through the elections.
Well, it is, and he has President Bill Clinton is going to be out next week at his presidential library down in Arkansas talking about what the law does, the facts about the law, the benefits of it, what's working. I'll circle October 1st is when enrollment begins. And Joe, Politico is reporting that starting October 1st, there's going to be a whole political campaign around it. You're going to have the president, the first lady, the vice president, Dr. Jill Biden, all out this fall making strategic appearances around this law. They're going to be tracking those enrollments, looking at it as a political campaign, looking at where they're weak, where they need to be plussed up, and they'll be sending officials based on how people are signing up.
You know, I'm looking also at some other stories in Politico. One of your top stories, Nancy Pelosi, the hawk, tells Barack Obama to act on Syria. Isn't that interesting? The names have changed here when it comes to hawks asking for military force.
That's really true. And what we're hearing from Congress is that they wish that they'd been more involved in this conversation. We had the president talking with Speaker Boehner yesterday, but certainly on the Republican side, they feel it's too late. And you have this fascinating dynamic of Speaker Pelosi, who during the Bush years, of course, was opposed to interventions, now backing up the president.
You know, we have Gene. Here's a quote from Nancy Pelosi. It's clear that the American people are weary of war. However, Assad gassing his own people is an issue of our national security, regional stability, and global security, Pelosi said yesterday. Is that surprising to you?
Actually, it's not that surprising given what I've been hearing from Democrats, including some very liberal Democrats in the last couple of days, who are, appalled by the use of chemical weapons, and many believe, a line has to be drawn, whether it was drawn at the right time or in the right way or whatever, that you have to do something. And B, want to back up the president. I mean, everything does seem to become political in Washington, as you well know, Joe. And so you've got some former hawks who are saying, well, wait a minute, on the Republican side, and you've got former doves on the Democratic side who are saying, go ahead and hit them. Ultimately, of course, it's the president who's going to make the decision. There doesn't seem to be an appetite among members of Congress to actually come back in a special session to do very much about this.
Well, the doves are proving to be better neocons than the neocons, and I think that we have the history of the president and being able to get bin Laden, to be able to get Gaddafi, to whatever anybody thinks about Mubarak. He is out, and there are the issues with Egypt, but the drawdown of Iraq, the 2014 out of Afghanistan. I mean, the president has a track record to reflect on that I think people feel confident, like a Pelosi would feel confident in trusting him.
Yeah, these kinds of interventions often stir or change the lines between who's a hawk and who's not. That's what the history of it. I was going to ask you a question. Yeah. The British vote. What impact does that have, particularly on Republicans, given also what Gene said, the tendency to see everything political? Do you think there now could be a serious effort in the Congress to demand a vote? And if there were a vote, do you think there's any chance the president could do that?
Definitely. I think the more conservative members in Congress are now acting the way they acted in 95, 96, 97. You see a real move away from the neocon position. So the Tea Party members, the more traditionally conservative Republican members of the House are going to be against this. Just like we were against intervention in Bosnia and Kosovo because it didn't seem to impact our direct national security. And so, what I'm surprised about is, we sent troops into Bosnia when there really wasn't a clear, direct U.S. interest at stake. We did the same with Kosovo. We went into Afghanistan next. That obviously made a lot of sense after 9/11. Most Americans agreed with that. We stayed there too long. We stayed there. We should have gotten out 3-4 years ago. And then we went to Iraq, which, of course, we found out later there was no direct interest here. You could make the argument of all of those countries other than Afghanistan mentioned, Syria actually does have the biggest impact on America's national security in that, as you know, Richard, most Americans don't, it's been a linchpin of terrorism over the past 20, 30 years. They are Iran's client state in the Middle East. They are the funders of so much terrorism across the Middle East. And if they were removed from the chessboard, so to speak, which nobody's suggesting they are, and I'm not even suggesting we do that ourselves now, but I am just saying this is really one of the most strategic targets the United States could strike over the past 20, 30 years. And there is absolutely no appetite after fighting all of these useless wars to actually fight the war that matters.
No, you're right. Intervention fatigue, shall we say, is broad and deep. These are all wars of choice, other than perhaps Afghanistan after 9/11, which I would argue was a war of necessity. You have the humanitarian stakes here and the strategic states, and as you say correctly, precious little appetite to get involved, even in a limited way that the president's talking about, because he is not talking about jumping in with both feet. He's not even talking about jumping in with one foot.
I know.
This is a very circumscribed action he's talking about.
And it's very interesting what Richard Ingalls said from the Middle East. If you're going to, I don't know what animal he used, but if you're going to kill the lion, then kill the lion. If you're going to go after it, then go after it. These halfway measures, I think, at the end are just going to make the president look weaker.
Yeah, but people say that in principle, but then they're not ready to sign up for what it would entail in practice. If you're serious about going after Assad and you're serious about remaking Syria, suit up for something long, big, and expensive. And those people who are arguing for it, quite honestly, they're prepared to hold our coat. They are not prepared to do any serious lifting. They are not prepared to do that.
Okay. Hey, Mike Allen, happy Friday. Happy Football Friday.
Happy weekend to y'all.
Great to have you.